Hey everyone, wanted to touch on something I found out here accidentally upon starting to use the rod stand features that the devs implemented here recently that I don't think was really addressed anywhere, but I don't know if this is a feature or a glitch or not, but it's something I did stumble upon. I just wanted to share it with you here. So let me get into it. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and use the cast and reel technique right now, and I'm going to go ahead and start reeling and then stop. And I'm going to go ahead and put it down on the ground, and if you notice, everything stays stationary as it should. A little side note, if you saw up there, this is a glitch I saw, that when it was up in my hand, the reel was on the left-hand side, but when it's stationary on the ground, it's on the right-hand side. I don't know if that was observed or noticed by the devs, but maybe that should be something that's fixed. But anyways, everything down there is stationary as it should be, right? Now, I'm going to go ahead and do this again. I'm going to cast the line out. I'm going to reel it in. As I'm reeling it in, and then I'm going to put the rod down. And if you noticed, the reel still continues to spin as if it's pulling the line in, reeling the line in, right? This is helpful for your fishing techniques when you want to use multiple rods. Understand that right now you can only use 2 rods in the game at a time frame. You can actually put 2 rods down on the ground and pull a 3rd rod out, but if you do, you cannot pick up one of the other rods while you have a 3rd rod in your hand. So technically you're going to be limited to do fishing with just 2 rods at a time from here. But let's go ahead and get into some examples real quick, alright? So I have my cast and reel rod down there. It's not spinning. I wanted to test this out on purpose. Now I'm going to throw out the float rod, set it down, and I'm going to sit there and observe. If you realize, as it should, nothing happens with the cast and reel rod because it's not spinning. But the float rod does get a fish on the line. Now, I tried this a few different times just to be on the safe side and make sure that this is legit as it should be, what I was thinking. And as you can see, once again, the float rod got a fish on the line while the cast and reel rod, being stationary, sat there and had nothing happen. Okay, here's the change. Now, I threw the cast and reel rod out there. I started reeling it in, set it down on the ground, and step back. Now, as it's reeling it in, you'll notice that it does get a fish on the line without me touching it. So it works obviously in that way. So it's helpful for you to understand how this works. Now, there are some limitations to what's going to happen here and what you can do with this, okay? As you see, I got both lines out in the water there. Now, as I'm waiting, first the float rod gets a fish on the line, pick it up, and I start reeling it. If you're watching, as it's going here, alright, the cast and reel rod's still sitting out there and spinning and trying to catch fish on its own, right? And you'll see right here as I get this float rod fish in, I get another fish on the cast and reel line. All right, you have limited time frame to do these things when you're fishing like this, because something I've observed, and as you see, because the cast and reel line has to come in and stop at some point, you can lose your fish, even if it's like right there at the end of the line, or right as it's about ready to get into the shore. So I set this up again to try to see what happens. Okay. Now, in this case, I got 2 fish on the line at the exact same time for both rods. You have to make a decision at this point then, okay? Because of the limitations on the cast and reel line, that's generally the one you should probably go for first in these situations, because the float line has a tendency to hold onto the fish longer than the cast and reel line, depending on what gear speed you got it set up on also. I usually set mine up on the lowest setting, right? But you still have a time constraint. So as I put the cast and reel line back down, or back away, and picked up the other line, I still missed out on my fish. But here's another example. I was able to get the cast and reel line out there. You see I got another fish on the float line over there. As I'm reeling in the fish on the cast and reel line, cycle through this as fast as I possibly can. Put the rod away, pick up the float rod, and boom, got the fish on the line. So it still works. It's really a juggling act when you're in this situation. Something else to realize, that when you're using 2 rods like this and you cast them out, once you get a fish on the line and you pick it up, you become immobile. All right. In addition, you cannot put the rod back down. You have to reel the fish in on the line you got. You can't swap between the rods and pick up the other one. Like in this case, it would be great to pick up the cast and reel line. Unfortunately, you can't. You have to finish the rod that you're on. All right. So again, it's try and do it as fast as you possibly can when you're fishing this way. And you can see I lost the cast and reel fish. All right, now here you go. Watch some of the chaos happen as it can with this situation using these two rods together. Mind you, it will make your fishing more interesting, more action-oriented. It'll allow you to be able to do things quicker and faster, depending on what your gear is set up for. All right. Right now, I have my gear set up for I think it was like hook size 5s or 7s, and I was using some baits. I think it was like minnow for the float line, and I think I was using the cream gravy for the cast and reel line. And in this location, that's pulling in. Obviously, you saw the fish. If you just wanted to get massive amounts of fish, like in my case, I was wanting to get a lot of cash because I wanted to purchase some things and stuff like that, and keep advancing on that way, as well as trying to get my levels up quicker. And also, if you're in a competition, say, all right, this is one way to go ahead about trying to do that. If you're trying to get like a fishing frenzy or something like that, right? So if you're trying for bigger fish though, and you have it set up for trying for nothing but golds or diamonds or higher, this won't happen to be as quick for you, but it should still be a little bit quicker. All right. Now you can set up one rod to be slower and the other one to be catch smaller fish, so you can get like the one rod to be for your bigger fish that you want to get that will be on occasion, but then the other one you're just casting and reeling or doing whatnot to make it so that it's a little bit quicker pace, more action oriented for you. On top of it, if you pay attention, you can still hear like the other line straining, even if you're in your the trophy menu. All right, in this case, to get the float fishing fish. Anyways, here's a couple more examples of the chaos again that can ensue. Now, something that you have to realize is that even if you have a fish on the line there nibbling, it's not a guaranteed catch. You still have to hook it. And if you don't hook it, then you get what happens here. It just strains on the line, indicating nothing's happening, like the fish is trying to pull it out and it can get away. So you still have to hook it. Now, something that you may have noticed here, again with the strain on the rod here, you can hear that tension. And this is something I've learned, especially as you're about to see. I'm going to be going up a level here in a minute. After all this experience, you pay attention to these signs. You listen to things. You get the clues and stuff like that in, right? And you can figure out how to fish. And if you notice, without all the HUD options down there, right? It is possible to fish it. And this is something that I've started to do recently to make it, again, like my hunting session, more of a realistic fishing session. This is done using the fishing HUD settings in the accessibility menu. And we'll cycle through them really quickly here between the HUD being on, the HUD being minimized, and the HUD being off. Here, the HUD is on. This is the full display with everything shown all at once that you should be used to when you first start the game. With the minimal setting, you lose everything on the left-hand side of there, indicating what type of fishing with jigging, twitching, and the button combinations. When you turn it off, you lose all the displays except the right-hand portion down there showing you what technique you're actually doing. I wish that would actually go away. So now here's something to realize, all right? As you can see, I still cast my lines out. And I got down there on the bottom left-hand corner the compass as well as the two icons for this, the different rods, which I now turned off, all right? Everything's completely gone. Unfortunately, what happens is that once you pick up a rod, all those indicators come back. As you see down there in the bottom right hand now, I got that shows what the other rod's happening. All right, and mind you, I got the fish on line. You didn't see the little indicator pop up. I do have a fish on line here. But now you can see that down there on the right hand side, another fish is on the cast and reel rod. All right. So anyways, let's go back in here to test. You'll see I throw out the float fishing line, set it back down, turned off the HUD, picked up the cast and reel line. Immediately the HUD comes back up again on the float fishing line. Cast out the cast and reel line, set it up to go ahead and reel in. Look at everything, turn the HUD back off. Turn it back on, back off. I tried this a couple times and you'll see what happens. I'll do it again here one more time. But what's irritating is that, like I said, once you pick up the line and you reel in the fish, or even, just pick up the line, you'll notice that the HUD comes back on. When you reel in the fish, it's all back on. So you can't get rid of it completely, which is kind of frustrating. But you still have your cues, like in this case, the cast and reel line bent down and indicated fish was on line. Anyway, so I hope this kind of helps you guys out with some little things I've observed on the using the rods, or I should say the rod stands, as well as setting up the style of fishing to try to do a realistic style of fishing. You can do it, and I've actually been having a lot of fun with it. I really want to challenge myself at some point with like a bigger fish, a gold, a diamond, and possibly even a legendary with the realistic setting by turning the HUDs off and just strictly listening to the sounds and watching the cues of the rod bending down and everything like that, and trying to reel the fish in that way. Something to realize that because turn off the HUD, you have to, on the cast and reel line, you need to know that it defaults to 3. So generally, if you pay attention to the reel as it's spinning, it'll slow down if you want to go down to 1 or to 2 and then 1, and speed up if you go higher. So just some little cues to pick up on. But anyways, I hope this kind of stuff helps you guys out, and I wish you guys the best on your fishing. So until next time, take care. Happy fishing, everyone. God bless. Bye.